previous segment, we've looked at various different ways of entering data and changing data within our worksheets. Now we're going to have a look at managing workbook elements. So some of those elements will be the sheets, or sheet tabs within our workbook. First off, in this video we're looking at renaming sheets and changing sheet tab color. Here, for example, I have a sheet which is currently called Sheet 1, Insert Delete. As I move on to a new chapter, I may want to rename my sheet. To do that, I can simply right-click on the Sheet tab, move to the Rename button, and the cursor will move into the Sheet tab area and will highlight all of the text. So if I want to completely rename my sheet, I can just use the backspace key or delete key, clear all the information, and write renaming sheets, or any other sheet name that I want to use. The next thing I might want to do with my sheets, to make them easier to find, easier to organize, is to change the sheet tab color. So let's say this is a data sheet, and all data sheets I've decided are going to be colored in blue. I can right click on my tab, move to the tab color area, and change that color to blue. It's not immediately visible that the sheet tab color is blue, but if I move on to a different sheet, we will see quite clearly that the sheet tab color has been changed to blue. It is also worth noticing that these commands, or at least the changing color, can be performed on various sheets at the same time. So let's say my data sheet is going to be blue and all other sheets are going to be orange. I can hold down Control and select each one of those sheets individually, right click on all of them at the same time and change their tab color to orange. Again, while the sheets are selected, the color is not immediately visible, but once I click off those sheets onto a different one, we will see quite plainly that the sheet tab color has been changed. Now let's look at how else we can organize our sheets within the workbook. I can, for example, move my sheets. The simplest way to move a sheet within a workbook is to just drag and drop it. To do this, I'll click onto my renaming sheet, I'll drag it to the right, and as I move right you will see a little arrow. The arrow is going to indicate to me between what two sheets my sheet will be inserted. If I drag it all the way to the end, it will be inserted between sheet 5 and the end of the workbook. That is, it will be put at the end of the workbook. I could drag it to any other point between any other two sheets. As simply as that. It is also good to know that I can do this on multiple sheets. Again, pressing sheet 1, holding Control and pressing sheet 2, I've now selected both sheets, and I can move both sheets by dragging and dropping. I've now got a wonderfully confusing sheet structure where all my sheets are in the wrong order. Let's just move those back. One of the other things I may want to do is to duplicate a sheet or to copy it. I can move a sheet first of all using the right-click command and going to Move or Copy. As we've seen, it's really very easy to simply drag and drop, but I could just move the sheet back to the beginning by moving it to before sheet 1. The other thing I might want to do using the same menu is to create a copy. By default, Excel will not create a copy, and I know this because this tick box here called Create Copy is not selected. If I tick on my tick box and press OK, the sheet will be moved to before renaming sheet, the one that it currently exists, and it will also be created as a copy. So we have created a copy called Renaming Sheet 2, and it has been placed before the original renaming sheet. The other thing we can do with moving worksheets is we can actually move them to other workbooks. So at the moment, by default, Excel will select the current workbook. My current workbook is called Insert Rows, and we have a number of other workbooks that are still active within Excel. Let's say I want to take this sheet and move it to book 1. I'm going to take this currently selected sheet and I'm going to move it to book 1 before sheet 1. Now notice that this reference here relates to the worksheet where I'm going to drop my new sheet. It is not the current workbook, it is the destination workbook. So let's see what happens there. Well, from this end it looks like very little has happened other than my sheet has disappeared. But if I go and track down that other workbook called book 1, there is my earlier copied renaming sheet 2. And it has been placed as expected before sheet 1. The other thing I can do when I'm moving my worksheets is to move it to a completely new workbook. Again, using move or copy, I can move the book to and select new workbook. If I use this option, say I can create a copy. If I use this option, Excel will create a new workbook and place this sheet in it. Again, we remain in the source workbook and we need to track down the new workbook that has been created. In this video, we have looked at how to manage and manipulate worksheets within a workbook, including moving, copying, and moving to a new workbook.